So what's it like being Terry Hearn?
In a word, fun. No, I have a great time, you know. We'll probably talk about it a little bit later on, but I fish for other stuff as well as carp as well, so it's always interesting. You know, I'm always fishing for something or other, and I just love it. It's a great life. It's a life of O'Reilly.
So how did you get into carp fishing?
I was lucky enough to catch a British record carp at a time when I was writing. I was doing stuff regularly. I had no sponsors or anything though. And I tell you what, that trip when I caught that British record carp, I was that skint. I can remember I got all of my coins, 2p's and all old coins now in a big sweetie jar, and went up the bank, up Barclays Bank, I remember, and I came out of a £20 note. Seriously, and that was enough for me to go and get a little bit of shopping and what have you, and enough to go fishing for 3 nights. And I caught Mary that trip.
So what's been your greatest achievement?
I don't think it'd be one of my captures. I think probably my greatest achievement is my books. Yeah. That gave me such a buzz. It was similar to catching a really big carp, you know, like once it was finally done, you know, that's, yeah, I think probably my books are my greatest achievement.
Now, you've caught so many big fish already. How do you keep motivated?
I like fishing for the really special ones, and I get all of the magazines, all the weekly ones and the monthlies, and I keep an eye on them. And every so often, normally this time of the year, the spring, something special will turn up, a new one. Just recently, a friend of mine, Simon Hartop, caught a new fish, 46-pounder, completely unknown, and it's in the Colne Valley. And you know, it was really, really exciting, and I'm pretty sure I know where it lives, do you know what I mean? Like, so, yeah, I don't know, I suppose that's how I keep motivated, by always looking for new challenges and new fish, rather than just sort of resting on my laurels and being happy with what I've caught. I'll always look to the future.
Now, what do you make of the current carp scene?
Busy. Yeah, it's definitely a lot busier than it was. It's more and more difficult to write about it. When I used to write, I've gone through a phase with Angling Times. I've always written for Angling Times, but I went through one phase where I was writing a weekly column, like a diary piece, and I'd get home from fishing and write exactly what I'd been up to, my approach, what I was fishing for, where I was fishing, and how I was going about it, you know. You imagine other chaps that are fishing that lake are reading that, oh, I'll do a bit of that, I'll put salt in my bait, I'll do this, I'll do, you know, and all the little edges, and you're giving it away. And it didn't matter so much before, but now there's so many big fish anglers that they've all got the same dreams, they're all after the same big fish, and it's become more and more difficult. And that's probably shown a little bit in my writing, I think, over the last sort of couple of years. I'm having to take an angle on something. I can use pictures of the fish I'm catching, but it'd be an article about bait or a rig or something, do you know what I mean? Rather than my actual fishing. So yeah, the current carp scene has got busy, and certainly for guys like me, it's made it a little bit more difficult to get on with our work, you know, but it's there for everybody, so.
Now, a lot of anglers find it difficult to get their head around, like, this long sort of stay approach. You must have to be quite mentally strong to sort of go, you know, long periods without a bite.
Definitely. There's probably, and you don't get used to it either. It doesn't matter how many long sessions you do, you never get used to it. I can remember a trip I had just before Christmas this last year, and it was a 4-nighter, and it actually went over my birthday as well. So I was on the lake on my own on my birthday, 4 nights, 4 days, and my guest cup didn't need cleaning by the end of it. Do you know what I mean? I didn't have a single visitor, and that was probably one of the most loneliest times I've been, even though I've done it for years and years. You know, the fact that it was over my birthday, you know, and I thought I should be out surely with friends or something, you know, but. Yeah, the long sessions can get difficult. At the moment, I'm fishing really long sessions. I'm doing like 5 nights a week, you know, at home for a night or two. And it's all right in the summer months when you're moving around, you're keeping yourself busy, you've got lots going on. Once it gets to autumn, winter, then it becomes a real chore, yeah.
And what's the longest amount of time you've gone without a bite?
On some lakes, St Ives Lagoon, I fished there. I started around the end of September, and I probably fished all at the end of September, all of October into November, and never had a bite.
Now, most of your life seems to be spent on the bank. What do you do to pass the time?
I'll read, only fishing stuff. I'll take whatever magazines come through the door, and I'll take those with me. I'll occasionally watch a little bit of telly, the radio, but I get bored. A lot of the time I get bored and I'm twiddling my thumbs, you know. There really isn't a lot to do.
Now, so many different methods of carp fishing. What's your favourite?
Floater fishing. Or stalking. Anywhere where you can see the carp feeding and taking the bait. That's definitely the most fun and the most exciting. It's what gives you the trembling fingers. And imagine when you've got carp taking floaters, you know, you can hear them slurping, you can't get the baiting needle through the bait, you know, it's all... That's probably my most exciting, is floater fishing.
Now, I know you do a bit of other fishing during the winter months for different species. Could you ever see yourself being an all-rounder like, say, Martin Bowler?
Martin Bowler is probably the youngest in his game. And I'm good friends with Martin, and he always laughs about he's got no competition in comparison to me. You know, carp anglers there's so many really good little young carp anglers coming through, and it's just not like that in the all-round fishing. And I think once I get a bit older, hopefully another 10 years or so yet, but I'm definitely going to spend more time fishing for other species.
Who was your biggest influences when you were growing up?
Richie McDonald, definitely. I think he was way ahead of his time. Big fish angler wise, you know, he'd caught 4 40s from 4 different lakes before I think anybody else has had 2, do you know what I mean? He was at it, and definitely a really big influence. Rob Malin, more so because I fished with Rob and spent a lot of time. I learned so much from Rob, his books as well, before I actually fished with him. A huge inspiration.
So out of the current crop of anglers, big names, who would you rate the most?
Nige, you know, I can't... You know, I would hate to be a fish if he looked at me, do you know what I mean? Because you haven't got much chance, like, you know, really respect Nige. Jim Shelley, you know, I love Jim Shelley to bits, you know, a lot of people have got their own opinions of Jim. I love him, like, you know, and as far as respect goes, as big fish angler goes, he's as good as it gets, do you know what I mean? There's quite a lot. Johnny Mack, again, you know, if he sets his sights to a certain fish, he catches it. It's as simple as that. There's loads and loads of really good big fish anglers out there, and a lot of younger ones coming through as well.
Who do you think's going to be the next Terry Hearn?
I can think of half a dozen anglers. I'm not going to name them because I'll end up bigging them up, and now, you know, I'm not going to do that. But there's half a dozen young anglers that I keep seeing regularly in the papers that I definitely think have got the potential to you know, make a living from it, and make it their life, if you like. You know what I mean? It's certainly become mine.
All right, here's a question for you. What's the best Terry Hearn myth you've heard?
I've heard so many. Oh, God. I should do a book on Terry Hearn myths. Someone once said to me that they'd been told I'd gone back for the Black Mirror, and I'd been offered money, £1,000 to fish for and give the Black Mirror to at the time, leisure sport angling. Like, just the most outrageous, you know, just wouldn't even think of it in a million years, you know, but that's the sort of bizarre things, and people, this chap believed it enough to confront me over it, do you know what I mean? Yeah, it's horrifying sometimes. You think, my God, what are people thinking? Like, but it just happens, and you just have to let it wash over you, otherwise you'd get quite upset at times, yeah, so I just let it wash over me, don't worry about it.
So are there any fish that aren't with us anymore that you would have liked to have caught, but obviously you haven't got the opportunity to catch now?
Yes, I got a ticket for one, and I'd had my eye on this fish for about 10 years. A friend caught it at £34, it went up to £47 before I eventually got a ticket. It was only a little 10-man syndicate, and the year I got a ticket it died. And it was approaching £50, £47, £48 sort of thing. But it was a really pretty fish. It was classic English fish, you know, that dark colours like a shiny conker, you know, all chestnutty, big apple slicey scales all over it. And it was just a beautiful carp. I would have loved to have caught that one, but they're not here forever, you know what I mean? They pass away, so, and that one went before I managed to have a go for it.
And finally, if you died tomorrow, what do you think they'd write on your tombstone?
Oh, what? I'd like it to be something nice, but it'd probably be, cut the grass, you lazy sod. Thanks for visiting. You're always welcome. I'm now going to go off in the garden and try and tidy up a little bit. See you later.
Well, there you go. You didn't think I was going to come to a fantastic venue like this without getting my string pulled, did you? Join us again next week on The Casting Cat. Ding dang do.